All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me, most certainly Ciara, who is a certified Reiki meditation sound healing practitioner that is based in both Edinburgh and Mayo, as well as online. Ciara, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
No problem at all. I brought you on, I'm going to say, in relation to this topic of, I'm going to say, wellness and health, which a lot of people don't know, I'm going to say, enough about. But I want us, before we go into, I'm going to say, those different practices, Reiki, meditation, and
Mm,
that line of, I'm going to say, healing. Before that, just let me know a little bit about your background and where it all started for you, and we'll
yeah,
kind of get it off from there.
yeah. Well, do you want the long story or the short story?
Give us your story.
So I became interested in all of this stuff, Reiki, energy healing, kind of holistic therapies, probably over 10 years ago in my mid-20s. So for me, it was a way to help with some like emotional issues that I was experiencing at the time. So I'm living in Edinburgh now, and I was living in Edinburgh at the time when I got into all this. So it really feels like a full circle moment where over 10 years now, I'm back actually, working in all the practices that helped me years ago. So back then I was riddled with anxiety, just absolutely anxious all the time. I came over here to study and I got out of college, and on paper, I had this great life. I was working in the field that I had studied to be in. I was in this long term relationship. I was in this incredible city. But something in me was like, this is all not right for you, you know? So my gut was telling me I needed to make changes. And I was ignoring it. And eventually that led to me developing really bad anxiety. All day, every day, I was anxious. So I was a shell of myself back then in comparison to who I am now. And that stress on my body then resulted in eczema developing in my body. So it kind of manifested itself physically. So that started off in like my arms and my legs, and eventually then eczema spread to my face. And it got so bad that I would ring into work sick more times than I would ever like to admit, because I would wake up in the morning and my face would be just so swollen and red and just in bits from the eczema. And when I wasn't ringing in sick, I was waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, so that by the time I came to go to work, the swelling would have gone down and I was presentable to go into work. So I was just, yeah, like a shell of myself, just really insecure, full of fear, felt totally unsafe within myself. And I tried all the traditional options, going to the doctor, getting tests done, and everything was coming back fine. I was repeatedly told it's probably just a phase you're going through. Hopefully it'll go away. But at no point did anybody ask me about how I was feeling or what my stress levels were like. So I don't think I really was aware that what I was feeling was that anxiety. I just thought I felt shit all the time and that was normal, you know? So then I decided to explore energy healing because I was desperate. And I remember going to my first Reiki session and just coming away feeling a tiny bit better. And for me, that was everything because I hadn't felt a tiny bit better in years. So in that session as well, she told me she reckoned that I was a highly sensitive person, which is a kind of a characteristic trait that about 20% of the population have. So it's basically where we get more overstimulated mentally, emotionally, environmentally than other people. So I came away from that and I researched highly sensitive person. I was reading all the books, watching all the videos, and I was like, okay, this is the thing. Like I'm not this weirdo. I'm not the only person in the world who feels like this. And I kept going back and I kept doing Reiki and kinesiology and other holistic health practices. And long story short, then after keeping up with those modalities for a few months, my eczema disappeared and never came back. And my anxiety pretty much went away as well. So, I mean, I do get anxious from time to time now, but back then it was living with it all day, every day. Whereas now it's just on the rare occasion. Um, so that Reiki session just opened up my whole world, really. And from there, then that led me down to this whole path. My life completely changed. And a few years later, then I decided to train in all these things. And here I am now. And I really do believe that because I went through what I went through allows me now to have the empathy and the ability to hold space for others. So I am so glad that that version of me was curious enough to try other things, you know, to go on that journey of self-discovery and figure out what was going on in my body. You know, I had to take it into my own hands because I was going to other places and not getting any answers. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of how I got into it all and what led me into Reiki and energy healing and why I'm so passionate now about helping other people experience it in their own lives.
I'm so delighted and grateful for you even sharing that story, because there is a huge percentage of women right now that are self-conscious in relation to and nervous and anxious, maybe in a similar position to you, if not maybe the exact same. Were you someone who was currently taking medication at that time and it wasn't working at all? Because there's a high percentage of women that would listen to this podcast, and I'd love you to even further expand on your point of where you were to where you are now with lovely clear skin, and as well as that being super confident enough to come onto this podcast.
Yeah, no, I never actually took any medication. It wasn't something that I don't think was even ever offered to me back then. Like I said, with the anxiety and stuff, at no point did I didn't actually realize I was anxious until it was when I got into the Reiki and stuff. So nobody asked me how I was feeling. So I wasn't able to connect the dots to see that what I was feeling inside was anxiety. And that stress was then bringing about the skin issues. So it was just years of getting nowhere really. And then, like I said, I just became desperate to try anything. And it was my mum, to be fair. My mum is really into all these things, and she was kind of nudging me to try different things. And I was like, back then, you have to bear in mind, this is over 10 years ago. All this stuff was like woo-woo, and it wasn't as common or as normal to experience or to talk about now. So, you know, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And then eventually I was like, I'll try anything.
And I was just going to ask you that, Ciara, so that even to this day, right, there's a huge percentage of people that wouldn't know even what Reiki is, because I love you even to break it down.
Of course.
What's this energy we're been discussing about how to heal it, and even break it down to its simplest form? What is Reiki for those that don't?
Yeah, so Reiki is a type of energy healing that originated in Japan. So the best way I can describe it is, we obviously have a physical body, but we have an energetic body as well, and that's made up of its own anatomy. So you might have heard of like energy centers, chakras, meridians, your aura. So when we go through life, we go through challenges, big, small, anything that's kind of rattled us internally, that can throw our energy off. So in an ideal world, we want our energy to be flowing freely around our body. And when we go through difficulties and challenges or shocks or traumas, again, big or small, we're all different. Something small might impact me hugely, whereas to you, it might be just something you could brush off. So it's all relative to the person. But over time, when we accumulate these shocks, these challenges, these high intense emotions that we experience, that energy stays in our body. And if we're not doing anything to shift the energy, that's just getting stuck. And over time, that energy is becoming stuck, stagnant, or blocked. And that's then when we experience the stress, the anxiety. And we do know that there's a huge connection between stress and physical conditions and emotional conditions in the body now. So with Reiki, what you're essentially doing is you're channeling energy to the energy centers in the body to clear any stuck or blocked energy that might have accumulated over time. So we have 7 main energy centers, and they run from the base of our spine up through the crown of our head. And physically, they are all connected to different organs and glands as well, but emotionally, they're connected to different things. So just a couple of examples. We have one here at our throat, and that's all about feeling safe to express ourselves, to communicate. So when that's blocked, that might be then when we feel unsafe to share how we feel, or to share our opinions, or to voice ourselves. We might get that tense frog in the throat that's preventing us from sharing our voice. Another one then is down here at our solar plexus. It's a very emotional energy center. It's where we would hold on to and store a lot of emotion. So that's where, if anyone has experienced anxiety, a lot of the time will experience it here in your stomach. So it's working with those energy centers, and a Reiki practitioner will become kind of, through training and their own experiences, become attuned to the subtleties in energy to be able to pick up on anything that they feel is maybe stuck or blocked. But it's a really gentle form of energy healing. It can be done in person, or it can be done distantly as well. And they're both just as powerful and beneficial and supportive as the other.
And how long is, I'm going to say, a Reiki session? And does it involve, I'm going to say, the touching of the body?
Yeah. So a Reiki session, typically I offer sessions that are 60 minutes or 90 minutes. It does involve touch, and I would encourage touch because there's something so nurturing about touch as well. That in itself is healing. You know, when we give each other a hug, how amazing does that feel? So to have someone intentionally sending you love and energy for an hour through touch is just so beneficial. But there are people who prefer not to have the touch, and it can be done as well where you're just like slightly hovering your hands just above the body. So it's personal preference, but it can be done either way.
Yeah. And I suppose then, even on that point of where is the energy for the likes of your, I'm going to say maybe your gut, which is connected to like your skin, which I'd be a firm believer in. Is that something that you work with around the midsection that then has an effect on your skin? Is that the route that you went down with your own, I'm going to say, issues?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think again, when it's through training and stuff you pick up along the way, you understand which, you know, for example, for me, the gut, the skin, 100% was related. But I think as well, what goes on in our gut, it's to do with the digestion, but digestion of your emotions. So if you're not digesting your emotions, you know, that's going to cause issues physically, and then that will show about itself physically as well. So it's all connected. You know, everything physical has an emotional connection, and vice versa as well. So our bodies are very smart. So our body keeps the score. So our body will have a memory of every single thing we've ever felt or experienced, whether you remember it or not. Your body will remember it. So it's just about, you know, having that space and that environment for your body to quiet down so that it can reveal to you and to the practitioner what's kind of going on. But unless you create that space for your body to speak to you, you'll just be running on adrenaline the whole time, you know, and your body will shut down.
Eventually, it certainly will. Oh my God, I love that even sentence. Digest your emotions. And a lot of people, whether it's in Ireland, I hope that people listening to this will be in Ireland or even in the UK, right? We have that, I'm going to say, upbringing to maybe even suppress emotions, to it'll be okay, you're fine, you're grand, right? How much does that affect us and on a daily basis?
Oh, hugely, hugely. But I think as well, and it's through no fault of our own, where we kind of grew up in a world where speaking about your emotions was never really encouraged, you know, and then over time we learned that we're more of a hindrance if we do, you know, and I certainly felt that way when I was younger, being highly sensitive. I felt like, oh, I feel everything so deeply and so intensely, and that other person doesn't. And so I would just brush it off and pretend that everything was fine and it wasn't affecting me as much as it was. And then eventually that just led to, you know, where I was, which was the anxiety and the eczema. So it will catch up to us, you know, but I think it's through listening to things like podcasts and educating yourself and becoming curious. I think curiosity is a huge thing. If you can just become curious as to maybe looking into other ways of doing things or processing things, that can kind of lead to you getting to a point where you do feel safer to kind of process your emotions, to share your emotions, because it's healthy. You know, it's healthy to do that.
Yep. And is that, I would say, all part of the Reiki, I'm going to say, sessions that you involve, getting people to speak, getting people to inform you on their background in relation to stress, I'm going to say maybe abuse or anything else in between? Is that all part of the...
Yeah, well, sometimes, yeah. So I will ask people if they want to share anything with me to kind of help me understand where they are. But you do have people that come in and they just hop up on the bed and they have their session and they leave, and there's very little conversation, and that's okay too. And I think that's the beauty about Reiki and energy healing, is sometimes you don't always need to speak or share about what's going on. It's just having that open-mindedness in order to receive the energy. So I do have some people that will come in and share what's going on. And then I have some people that don't. And that doesn't impact the session. It's just personal preference, really. Of course, it does help me connect to you a little bit better, to help kind of guide and maybe give tips and tools and practices, but it's not a necessity. And I think that's why a lot of people are becoming more drawn to the likes of energy healing, because you don't have to go rehashing things over and over again. And I will say I am a great supporter and believer in talk therapy. And I have been on that chair in front of a therapist for many, many hours and received, it has been a huge part of my healing journey. But I think personally, again, this is just me personally, when you're there and you're speaking about your feelings and you're going through your traumas or your challenges or things you've gone through, that's all energy coming up. You're bringing that up, you're bringing it out, and then you're left and you're like, okay, you have to get on with your day. So I think combining these therapies, getting to a place where we can combine, you know, modern practices along with complementary and ancient practices as well, you know, having the two together as complementary rather than one versus the other, can bring about massive shifts in people. That's what worked for me, is kind of a combination of both.
Yeah, I suppose when someone would come to you with, I'm going to say, being anxious or stressed or maybe even skin health issues, briefness in between, what are the kind of the procedures that you would go through with people in a session like that?
So obviously they would experience the session, but then it's what you do outside of the session as well. So it's not just, yes, I think you know, it's the same way you go and get your hair done every 6 to 8 weeks, go and get your energy, you know, cleared as well. But it's what you do in between. So I will always kind of encourage people to look at kind of their aftercare. So that for me would be simple things like maybe trying meditation if you haven't meditated before, you know, spending time outside without your phone, without listening to anything, gratitude, journaling, rest. And it's starting small. I think sometimes, like, we see so many things online about you should be doing this and you need to try this and you need to try that, and we overwhelm ourselves. But like, say with meditation, a meditation might not be for everyone, but what I would encourage people is to try it, but start small. You know, maybe just doing 2 minutes of meditating. Don't go in and try and do 20 minutes or half an hour if you've never meditated before, because you're going to go like, what the hell is this? I can't do this. And I think as well, there's this misconception with meditating that it's meant to clear our thoughts. But in the same way our heart beats involuntarily, our mind thinks involuntarily. So we can't ever shut it off. And that's not the aim of meditating. It's to become more aware, to strengthen that muscle of awareness, so that when you are maybe going off on a tangent of negative thoughts, you can catch yourself, you know. The gratitude as well is spending 2 or 3 minutes a day just stopping to think, oh, what am I grateful for and why am I grateful for it? And sitting in that energy can kind of shift something in you as well. And encouraging rest, I think that's probably the most important. I think we live in a world where rest is never encouraged. It's way down on our list of priorities. Like, it's way down at the bottom of the list. And we think we need to earn rest. But in fact, I think rest is mandatory. It's like sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up, you know, instead of feeling like we need to be going all the time. So these are just really simple practices that if you just bring into your daily life in between your sessions, you know, it can provide a bit of structure and consistency, and over time you'll see changes. It's not an overnight thing. Nothing is overnight. You don't go to the gym once and all of a sudden you have your desired fitness levels or your desired body. It takes time. It's the same with your energy. It's the same with feeling better. It's the same with your emotional health, your mental health, your spiritual health.
You know, I suppose for someone, even I use myself as my own best example, like meditation for me in particular, God, I cannot sit there on the floor, close my eyes, cross-legged, light the, as you can see in the background, the essential, most of the candles that really ooze me into it. Is that the only type of meditation that we can do, or what? During for me or anyone else has been in a similar situation?
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. I'm mindful that it's not for everybody, or people might find it more challenging than others. But say for the likes of you who maybe struggles to kind of sit and do that. It's going out for a mindful walk, you know. It's going out, leaving the phone away, not having any music or anything in your ears. It's literally just walking and looking around and being mindful. Get in touch with your senses, okay? What are maybe 3 things I can see right now? What are 3 things I can smell right now? What are 3 things I can touch right now? It's just bringing that mindful awareness into your day. And I would start there. And then I wouldn't be surprised if over time then you felt like you were maybe better equipped to sit for 2 or 3 minutes and to do that type of meditating, you know? So it's building up to it.
Yeah, I could definitely, I'm going to say, start with that. But I do a little bit of journaling myself, and I wouldn't even suggest that to other people. It's such um, a way to zone in on the positives. And in this world that we live in, there are a lot of negatives out there. So that's something that I do myself. Write down three things, because you cannot be two emotions at once. You can't be, I'm going to say, stressed as well as being grateful for
Yeah.
having a child, being in this world where the sun, as we were talking about, beaming in the windows here on both situations, because that's really important to focus in on the positives, because what you're focusing on is going to expand. You're like, yes, I have that. Yes, I have this. Yes, I have them, or we've had that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you do that, all of these things create such a ripple effect, because I think all of it comes down to the end of the day of that relationship with you that you have with yourself. So when you're doing these practices, you're spending time with yourself. You're building that relationship with yourself, because at the end of the day, we're the only person we're guaranteed to be with for the rest of our lives. So our relationship with ourselves is the most important one of all. And practices like that, spending time with yourself, are just such great ways to build that relationship, so that over time you start to kind of maybe trust your emotions more, or have a better relationship with your emotions, and knowing and understanding how to navigate through them when life does throw crap at you. So I think all of these practices just really help hone in on that relationship with self, which, like I keep saying, is the most important one of all.
So important. I know, I suppose, in relation, I would have touched on, I'm going to say, still a little bit about sound healing. It's coming a little more popular more and more now at the minute. And what does it actually do into our nervous system? And why do people kind of feel that I can carry it out a little more relaxed after it? How does that
Yeah.
happen?
Sound healing is powerful. Oh my God, I love it so much. Sound healing is a deeply, deeply meditative practice. So again, maybe for someone who struggles with sitting down and meditating, going to a sound bath or a sound healing session, you don't have to do anything. Your body does the work. The facilitator will do the work. It's a very passive practice in the sense that you don't have to do anything, because once you're there, your body starts to resonate with everything going on. So with sound healing, to explain a little bit about it first, and then what it does to the nervous system. So, for example, I use crystal singing bowls primarily. There's so many instruments you can use for sound healing, but what I use are crystal bowls. And my bowls are attuned to the frequency of 432 hertz, which is said to be the frequency of healing and the frequency of nature, which is why our bodies are so receptive to it. So when I start playing my bowls, and they're all tuned to different notes, and you play certain bowls to create certain harmonies, after time, the frequencies been played from the bowls start to resonate with your body. So you'll start to notice everything starts to slow down. So your body starts to slow down, your nervous system starts to slow down. What happens is your brainwave states change too. So when we're like right now, we're just going about our day to day, our brainwave states are in that level of beta, I think it is. But when you experience a sound healing session, they're slowing right down into theta and alpha, which is where we're really tapping into and switching on our parasympathetic nervous system. So when we're in that kind of stress state, that busy go, our sympathetic nervous system is switched on, which is that fight or flight mode. And a lot of us are in that. But when you experience sound healing, you're tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's when everything's slowing down. Deep restoration and repair can go on in the body, physically, on a cellular level, on an energetic level, on an emotional level. So people will experience deep rest and relaxation that they may have never experienced before, or maybe haven't in a long time. So for anyone who's maybe never had it before, I would really encourage you to try it, because it's so powerful. And it can shift a lot as well. Now, I will say different things can go on in the body during a sound bath session. It's not just the getting into that deep, relaxed state. Some people find that emotion starts to come up, and they start to maybe have memories come into their mind, and emotions come with that. And I say that that's always actually a really good thing, because what's happened is your body has felt safe enough for you to feel that. So the sound bath session, creating that quiet, that harmony in the body, has opened up space then for your body to start talking to you. And then you can kind of release what it is that's coming up. people get, the energy moves through you in so many different ways. People get random images or colors coming into their mind. Their body gets really heavy, or on the flip side, they might feel like they're floating. Anything weird or wonderful that you experience or feel during a sound bath or a Reiki session are all totally normal. But it's just amazing what will happen when you give your body that time and that space just to slow down and rest.
I suppose for someone that would be in a position that is stressed, has, I'm going to say, poor skin issues, and maybe is in that fight or flight kind of a stressful position in their life right now, what are 3 things, takeaway tips we could give to people that are in that current situation?
First of all, I would say is just go gentle on yourself, be easy on yourself. I think sometimes when we're going through these uncomfortable periods in our lives, or when we're not feeling our greatest, often it can mean that we're in a period of transformation. So the stuff that's shifting in order for you to kind of change up your way of living or your way of being. So just to go easy on yourself, get curious, I think having that curiosity of maybe why you're feeling like this, if it is a physical thing, why is my body breaking down? And getting curious with our emotions as well. I think masking or suppressing how we feel won't always work. So we need to develop that kind of curiosity, which can then lead you into finding your path, your way of healing. Because I want to say, I don't think there's one size fits all, or Reiki or sound healing aren't the only fix when it comes to these things. There's so many different things out there, but it's for you to develop that sense of curiosity and try different things. So that, creating the spaces of rest. So if you've struggled to find those spaces for rest for yourself, try a sound bath, try a Reiki session, try something else, where you're going into another environment where someone else is creating that space for you rather than trying to do it yourself. And then maybe just trying a few of the different daily practices. So whether that is spending more time outside, maybe journaling and doing a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of meditation, little things like that. Yeah.
Love that. And I suppose it goes back to, I'm a firm believer in like different quotes that can help people along the way. And it's, if you want to change your current state, you have to change what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
If you change, do the same thing again and again.
Yeah. 100%. And the thing is, it's not easy, it does take work. Like where I am now is 10 years in the making, but would I go back and change any of it? No. And I think it's to really have patience with yourself and with whatever journey you are on. And if you can keep going and keep taking a step. And I love, what's the book, The 4 Agreements. He says one of the 4 agreements is always do your best. So today, doing my best might be coming on this podcast and sharing my story. Tomorrow, doing my best might be just getting up out of bed and going for a walk. So you're doing your best every day is different depending on how you're feeling every day, but always do your best, whatever that is.
I literally love that you, just to repeat that book again, is the 4 agreements?
The 4 agreements, yeah, the 4 agreements. So always do your best. I want to challenge myself now to see, can I remember them? Be impeccable with your word. So kind of always speaking your truth, speaking how you feel. Don't take anything personally, and don't make assumptions. So they're the 4 agreements.
I'd say that's an absolute amazing way to nearly kind of finish off and wrap up this show. But here, you let me know, right? Where is the best place for people to reach out to you in itself, either through social media, or your website, or if they would like to book into, I'm going to say, the likes of one of your, I'm going to say, practices, whether it's in person in Mayo or Edinburgh, or even through online?
Yeah, great. Thank you. So my website is bluesoulwellness.com. My Instagram is bluesoulwellness as well. So if you want to book in for a one-to-one session, you can do that through my website, or you'll find all the links in my bio on Instagram as well. So I think I mentioned at the beginning, I've recently just moved back to Edinburgh. So I am based here now, but I do go back to Mayo quite a bit. And when I am in Mayo, I do offer one-to-one sessions and group sessions as well. So all of that will be on my website, on my social media. I am home again in the beginning of December, and I actually have two really good events coming up. I have one on the 6th. They're both in Ballina. One on the 6th of December. And I'm collaborating with another girl, and we're doing like a 4 or 5 hour session of breathwork, meditation, Reiki, sound healing, food, crack connection. It'll be amazing. And then the following day I have a Pilates and sound bath session as well. Online sessions are available too. I do distant Reiki and sound healing sessions. And I do plan to start up some group online sessions as well, especially over the winter. So yeah, lots going on, but everything can be found on my website or my Instagram.
Definitely. I'll put all those in the likes of the show notes. If anyone wants to click directly on those, they go straight up to the website or the likes of your social media. I'm also really super grateful for you coming on to the show. And I always am going to say end these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, keep it organic, and get on that good stuff.